This worker was working when he stepped on a hammer. The hammer slid along the roof tiles and struck the rotten iron framework. The framework rotated 360 degrees and struck the passerby below. However, what had just happened was no accident, but destiny. At that moment, a beggar stole the manhole cover to exchange it for food. When he came across a tanker truck, the manhole cover went through the crossbeams that blocked the wheels. With no resistance from the wheels, the tanker began to roll down the slope. It crashed into the car of an American ambassador. Passers-by were shocked to see gasoline pouring into the car. The gasoline spilled into a cigarette butt. After the ambassador lost his life in the explosion, the man who had been the deputy ambassador became the ambassador. This ambassador, Robert, was chosen by the devil. He thought his promotion had been favored by heaven, not knowing that the nightmare was just beginning. But Robert's wife was operated on during childbirth. Robert's newborn son left him. Unfortunately, his wife was never able to conceive again because of the accident. At that time, a priest declared that a little boy had just been born and that his mother had died in childbirth. But this little boy was born at 6:06 a.m. on June 6, which is the birthday of the devil, Satan. Robert decided to adopt the baby without his wife's knowledge, so as not to upset her. Over time, Damien began to grow up. Robert's wife finds Damien a bit strange. Not only has Damien never been sick since he was a child, but all the animals in the zoo are afraid of him. She had no idea, but on Damien's 6th birthday, an accident occurs. The dog sits on the road. The nanny and the dog looked at each other strangely. Before anyone realized the danger, the nanny was on the roof. She had a long, thin rope around her neck. The nanny said she'd done all this for Damien and jumped off the roof. Everyone was in shock. Robert clung to his son, but his son showed no fear and waved at the big wolfhound in front of him. Damien had something to do with the nanny's accident. In the evening, Robert strokes his sleeping son's cheek. Robert suddenly heard a strange noise and turned his head to see the big dog during the day. But the dog wouldn't let Robert touch him. As soon as Robert removed his hand, the dog became obedient. Robert had to consider hiring a nanny to look after his son. That's when a woman came forward to apply for the job. After learning about the situation, Robert was pleased with the woman and hired her as his nanny. They thought they were going to live happily ever after. But the next day, something terrible happened. A priest told Robert to kill Damien as soon as possible. Otherwise, Robert's family would die a painful death. Robert didn't believe him, had the priest removed by the security guards, and thought no more about it. But the priest came back to Robert at night. If Robert wanted to stop the disaster, he'd have to go to a famous priest to solve the problem. At that moment, the sky was covered with lightning and thunder. The priest realized that revealing the truth could bring demonic retribution, so he rushed to the church because it was a sacred place and the devil wouldn't do anything wrong. As soon as he reached the church door, he saw that it was locked by some mysterious force. As the priest tapped on the door, a thunderclap appeared in the sky and struck the lightning rod on the roof. In the next second, the lightning rod swooped down on the pastor and struck him. But the devil's vengeance didn't stop there. His next target was Robert's wife. The woman was watering her flowers when suddenly the boy knocked her over. Fortunately, the woman held on to the edge and didn't fall. The woman backed Damien to save her, but he didn't move. Finally, the woman couldn't hold on and fell down the stairs. Although the woman survived, she became a vegetable. When the nanny came to visit, she injected poison into the medicine bottle. The woman quickly went into cardiac arrest and died. Robert was devastated to learn of his wife's death. At this point, Robert believes what the priest told him and wants to find out who Damien is. Robert and a journalist track down the priest who allowed Robert to adopt Damien and question him about Damien's origins. Burned by the fire, the priest takes a pen and writes an address for Robert to find out the truth. The two men go to the address and find a cemetery. They are shocked to discover the grave of Damien's mother. In the coffin are the bones of a fox wolf. It's then that Robert realizes that Damien's real mother is a fox wolf. Robert opens the side gallery and discovers that inside lies the skeleton of a child. Seeing the large hole in the corpse head, Robert realizes that his son didn't die at birth. He'd been killed by the devil's disciples. To prevent this tragedy, Robert takes a journalist to a famous priest to help him find a way to destroy the devil. But when the priest heard him, he pulled out a series of mysterious knives. The priest told Robert to take the knives and kill the demon in the church, but Robert resisted and threw the knives away as he left the house. Although the journalist persuaded Robert refused to harm Damien. The journalist wanted to kill Damien himself, but fate wouldn't let him. On his way to pick up the knives on the floor, the devil caused an accident. A hammer suddenly struck the rotting iron frame. The journalist underneath the iron frame was struck by the hammer. Robert, unable to contain his anger at the scene, went home and carried Damien to the car. The nanny suddenly rushed in, grabbed a hammer and hit the car to stop Robert. Robert stepped on the gas pedal and knocked the nanny over, then rushed to the church. But Robert's actions alerted the local police. Robert grabbed a knife to finish him off, but the police thought Robert was committing a crime and shot him dead. Robert came to a tragic end. At the end of the story, Damien, an orphan, is adopted by the president. Clearly, Damien's ambitions go far beyond this. This film teaches us that we must always keep control of our minds and make sensible decisions. Indecision will only lead you to the abyss of misery.